In this video, I'll be taking a look at a few skits from AMV Hell 8.5 that really needed some improvements. I've tried to stay mostly positive in my critiques so far, but as you already saw in Volume 5, there is absolutely no avoiding the fact that there are some skits in AMV Hell that are just plain bad. There were 106 editors contributing to both AMV Hell 8 and 8.5, with over 540 individual videos appearing in total. Obviously, not everything everyone made is going to be gold. That being said, I don't want to be negative for negativity's sake. Wherever possible, I will try to be constructive in my critiques, so that future editors might pick up on a few points here and there, or at the very least, give them some food for thought. So, with that in mind, let's take a look at our first less than perfect video, shall we?
Give me one reason why I shouldn't have my boy here pull your head off.
How about a magic trick?
The video source is Fairy Tale, which, surprisingly, is completely fresh to AMV Hell. The audio source is The Dark Knight, which is not fresh to AMV Hell. In fact, the audio from the very same scene has already been heard in a skit for AMV Minis Season 1, and again in AMV Hell 5. Yes, the exact same skit appeared twice. This is one of only 2 videos in the history of AMV Hell to share this distinction. This video has issues. The first thing we see is the character Natsu delivering a line of dialogue. This shot, or rather this choice of shots, is very odd. To the left of the screen we see a flickering flame. It's a bit out of focus, but it does appear to be in the foreground of the shot, and it's moving a lot more than the character is, which partially draws your eye to it. The problem, however, is that the fire serves absolutely no purpose. It really shouldn't be a part of the image. The camera is slowly panning, which can make lip-syncing challenging. Too challenging for this editor, apparently, because when we hear the word "here," there is a noticeable shift in the image. Clearly, the editor had to remove a few frames of animation to better sync the video with the audio here, and it does not look good. In the next shot, we see the character Ezra prepare to deliver the joke. Her lip-syncing isn't perfect either. There's a couple of lip flaps happening after she's finished speaking that really should have been blocked out. Now, normally things like this isn't a huge problem, but in a sound clip skit where the things the characters say take a large role in the setup and delivery of the humor, getting the lip syncing to look right is important. We can see that Ezra is indoors, but in the first shot with Natsu, it looks like he was outdoors. Just an odd little inconsistency. When the cats are pulled, we get a nicely framed shot of Ezra holding them, but instead of holding on this static image, the camera begins to pull back, only to quickly cut away into the next shot. This feels strange because we know that something has been interrupted. Why didn't the editor simply cut out this movement? They really should have just held on this image for an extra 6 frames. Finally, there's the reaction shot at the end. I see 4 issues with this image. Number 1. Once again, we have an inconsistency with the background. We previously saw sky, then wall, and now we see an abstract purple haze. Not a huge issue, but still, it's weird. Number 2. This framing. Natsu was in a close-up shot at the start, camera center. Here, he's off-center. He's not even the main focus of the shot. Which brings us to number 3. Who is this? He wasn't visible in the first shot, or the second, or third, but here he's more centralized than Natsu is, and his facial expression isn't even that funny. Finally, number 4, what happened to the gash on Natsu's cheek? Yet again, another inconsistency. Fairy Tale has over 300 episodes, so one really has to think, was there really no better shot of Natsu standing and talking that the editor could have used than this one? I am highly skeptical. So then, this video has issues. More than a few. Frankly, it's a mess. But, does it work? Yes, surprisingly, it does. Despite its many flaws, the joke lands and the skit is funny. And if the skit is funny, nothing else matters. Well, almost nothing. As previously mentioned, the audio in this skit has been used once before. Well, once before, twice. And normally, repeating old gags, even funny ones, can feel very cheap and stale. Fortunately, the editor managed to avoid this. In the original use of the audio, the editor kept in the line involving the pencil, resulting in the supposed magic trick being an act of violence. But in this version of the scene's audio, the pencil line is removed, and the magic trick we get is a non-violent one, although just as surprising. This isn't simply a remake or a rehashing of an old joke. This is a completely fresh spin on a familiar source. I have to give the editor credit here for choosing this moment for the magical reveal, because in the original scene of the show, Ezra actually produces 3 animals from her cleavage. First 1, then 2. By going with the 2 instead of the 1, the magic trick is more impressive, more absurd, and just funnier. So, in conclusion, even if a video isn't particularly well made, if it's at least fresh and funny, it is a winner. Also, if breasts are involved, all the better. I think we could call this a dirty gem.
Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday, Friday, happy days. The weekend comes, my cycle hums, ready to race to you. These days are happy and free. These days are share them with me. Goodbye, gray sky, hello blue. There's nothing can hold me when I hold you. It feels so right. You can't be wrong, rockin' and rollin' all week long.
I feel a certain kind of affinity for this AMV because in 2016 I tried something very similar myself. The video source is Happy Sugar Life. The audio source, the theme from Happy Days. We have a mint. Despite its name, Happy Sugar Life is not about sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. It is a lot more Welcome to the Jungle. Among the many wonderful subjects and themes its story explores includes child abandonment, child abuse, child abduction, child endangerment, pedophilia, and murder, just to name a few. It certainly has nothing in common with a cheerful 1970s American sitcom. This is a dark and disturbing video paired with an upbeat and joyful audio source. The AMV presents the viewer with a vision of bliss and brightness to build a false sense of security, before it suddenly drops the act and reveals the horrible hidden truth, resulting in a shock laugh due to audio-visual dissonance. This concept is solid. The execution is sorely lacking. To start off with, we are shown a montage of happy-looking characters to build the facade. Immediately, something feels off, and I don't mean in the foreboding sense, I'm talking about synergy. The visuals do not match the energy of the audio. The Happy Days theme song has a certain tempo to it, with clearly defined beats written into its lyrics. Consider this.
Sunday, Monday, happy days.
That is 3 beats.
Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days.
Another 3 beats.
Thursday, Friday, happy days.
You get the idea. The start of the song gives us 9 clear beats. And to fill these 9 beats, we have 5 shots featuring 4 different characters. On paper, this is uneven, and in practice, it feels just as uneven. The first 3 beats are covered with these shots. You may be thinking, 3 shots for 3 beats, that's totally fine. Unfortunately, the timings are off. Sunday is actually fine. We can clearly see the smiling little girl. Monday, we see the same character stand up, but she doesn't actually finish the movement until we hear the happy in Happy Days, wherein we cut to this character, who despite appearing to the words Happy Days, doesn't look very happy. When we hear Tuesday, he does smile, and we hold on this shot until the end of Wednesday. On the second Happy Days, we cut to this character, and we hold on them until the end of Thursday. It has to be mentioned, cutting from this character to this one wasn't the best choice. They are 2 separate characters, but they have the same hair color and the same eye color. They could easily be mistaken for the same person, and that hurts the montage. When we hear Friday, we see this. Eventually, the camera rises high enough for us to actually see the character's smile. This character gets nearly 3 seconds of exposure. We even hear the lyrics, "The weekend comes," before the next cut. Compare the opening of this AMV with the one that I made 8 years before.
Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday, Friday, happy days.
Now, please don't get the wrong idea. I am not suggesting that my work is a perfect example, because it is absolutely not. This is, however, a very rare opportunity for me to present not only a side-by-side comparison, but also a suggestion for a different approach. I would argue that this AMV, with its choice of cuts and timings, largely fails to achieve synergy with the visuals and audio, and my example at least does a slightly better job of it. You can be the judge. When we hear the lyrics "My cycle hums," we see another visual of characters smiling. There is no cycle to be seen. It's strange that the editor went with this line of the song, and not the "Saturday, what a day" verse. Ready to Race to You comes with these following images: a child being held by the neck, a girl swinging an easel with malicious intent in her eyes, and a 2-second shot of these rubbish bags. Things were bright and colourful, now they are dark and sinister. This shot in particular really sells the dropping of the facade, but this one is just an odd choice. I've seen the show, and I know what these bags contain, but a general audience would not know. So what is the significance of these bags, and why do they require a 2-second hold to see them? As the chorus begins, we see this. Now, what information is the viewer supposed to glean from this image? It's too dark and too late to be a part of the Happy Smiles montage, so the best explanation I can think of is that maybe it's supposed to be foreshadowing for the reveal that the character is a killer. Except there are 2 problems with that explanation. 1, foreshadowing doesn't exactly work in a 32-second AMV, and 2, it was only for a moment, but we already saw this character in harsh reds with a murderous look in her eyes. There's nothing to foreshadow. I genuinely have no idea why this shot is a part of the AMV. This is not even the editor's worst decision, however. This is. Everything becomes bright and colourful once again, with the title Happy Days clearly visible. We have already seen the dark face behind the mask, so why is the editor trying to put the mask back on? This makes absolutely no sense. Eventually, this sequence cuts away into the murder, which should have been the big shocking reveal, but unfortunately, the AMV already gave the game away, so any impact it might have had is now completely inert. Another thing, not only is this cut to the murder oddly timed, happening in the middle of the line "Goodbye Grey Sky," which just feels offbeat, and not only is there a leftover frame between the chorus sequence and murder that needed to be cut, the editor decided to keep some of the original scene's audio present in the AMV, albeit greatly de-amplified. Why? Such an odd decision, and it's just one of many. This AMV had a good concept, but where did it go wrong? In the editing, the cuts, the shots, the timings. In the narrative, the premature reveal, and the backtracking of the reveal. As a result, it lacked synergy, and its humor completely failed to land. This AMV is an absolute disaster, and it should never have been accepted. If nothing else, I hope this can at least serve as a good example of how not to make an AMV Hell video. Okay, that was long and negative. This last one will be negative as well, but at least it'll be a lot shorter.
Slide to the left. Slide to the left.
You know, sometimes words fail me. He's leaning left, but he is sliding to the right. Why didn't the editor mirror the image? Better yet, why didn't they use this part of the song instead?
Slide to the right.
Because it wouldn't have been funny if it was correct? It isn't funny anyway. Congratulations, Insane Sinbad. This just might be the stupidest video in all of AMV Hell. But it isn't the worst. Maybe I'll do that another time.